Hi, crafty friends. Are you guys ready for three easy Easter crafts? So first up, I got this little not round, that would be a bunny head. That's not a round. Oh my gosh, wood piece at the Dollar Tree. And we're going to actually do two projects out of this. So for this first one, we are just going to trace it onto a piece of cardboard. So we're just totally using the shape for this project, and then another one will do that. But we're going to do faux shiplap. Friends, this is so easy. Grab a pencil, grab a ruler, and that's all you have to do. You just go on one side or the other. And the great thing is, like, I did not paint these bunnies, as you can tell. But if you paint, you can do the same thing over the top. And then you can just kind of go over it a little bit and smudge it with your finger. And then you don't really even know that that's done with a pencil. This also works on walls. Yes, it does, because I've done that. But once we get these done, then I'm going to also use some of those paper doilies from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to add, I'm going to cut them up, and we're just going to add a little bit of that to each one of the bunny heads. So we'll go over the top of it. And then what we're going to do, since I didn't paint the background, I want this cardboard to look a little bit more like it might be a piece of wood or something like that. So what I did is I grabbed out just some regular old glue, like, school glue, the white glue. And then that's what I'll use to put the paper doily. Why are words so difficult sometimes? Down on each one of them. And again, I'm just going to take little sections of each one and just kind of like haphazardly put it down with the glue. And then once we do that, we will put the glue all over the top of the bunny head. And at first, of course, it'll look super wet, but then it'll dry down and it'll just give it a little bit of a sheen. And it's that nod that these are made out of wood, which you guys know, I love it to look like it's something different. And it's easy and inexpensive, which are my favorite things to do too. So a little bit of glue, like I said, and we're going to put this down. And then once that dries, I'll just go around with my scissors and then trim off any of the excess. And then I grabbed out a couple of little tiny, or smaller, I should say, clothespins, and we'll use some twine and we'll just hang those on there, and then we have a fun little garland. Now for the back of these, you could paint the back of it, because you could see this was a box that was empty in the pantry. You could paint the back of it, whatever you want to do. You could even add some paper on the back if you wanted the backside to be decorative, however you want to do it. And then I actually added little tails to these. I had a little piece of pom-pom ribbon, and so I thought, oh, let's cut that off. And I just think these are so cute. So on to project number 2. We are going to use these 3 ornaments that I got at Dollar Tree. Didn't use them for the holidays, so I thought, ooh, let's make a sign out of these. So I will tell you, I went in a couple of different directions with this project. I should have just sanded the red and the green off of the blocks. That would have made it a lot easier, but I did not. So what I decided to do was paint them. And then as I started painting them, I was like, oh, Bonnie, you are making this so much more difficult than it needs to be, because we're going to create a sign. So I was like, why did I not put the wood blocks together first and then just paint over the top of all of them to make it easier? Because we are going to use a napkin over the top of this. So I need to make sure that the white, that's why I'm painting them white, that because you'll be able to see that through the napkin. So here's where I was like, okay, let that dry. And then I was like, let's start putting them together. I just used a little bit of hot glue on each one of them. And that worked out great. And then we will, once we get the bottom row done, we'll do the top row, and then we'll stack the top row on top. Again, this would have been a whole lot easier. Like, I should have just saved myself a little bit of time, but we live and we learn. I do it wrong so you can do it right. That's what we're going to say. Oh my goodness. So again, just putting a little bit more paint on, because I was really trying to cover, I didn't want a lot of the color from underneath to come through when we put the napkin on it. But we will get it all worked out. Again, it would have been a lot easier if I would just sanded everything off, but we live and we learn. So again, once this gets all dry, make sure your paint is totally dry before you start to hot glue it together. Otherwise, it doesn't hold so great. But I'm going to use the napkin that we used, napkin that we used. I'm going to use, wow, words are hard today, a napkin that we're going to use on another project. And I just took the back part of it off. So we'll just be using the front part, a little bit of Mod Podge, and then we're just going to lay this down right over the top. Now I am going to wrap it around the top of the block so that when this sits, you don't see anything else other than the napkin going around and then on the edges. And then these little stickers I love. You can get them even at Walmart or Target. They're kind of puffy, but I love the gold so very much. And I thought, let's use these. And I did a little distressing on the edges with an ink pad before we put these down. But I was like, oh, wait a minute. I have those little styrofoam bunnies. So painted it gold, and we're going to put that on the top as well. So just a fun way to repurpose something that was supposed to be for the holidays, but I never got to it. Look how cute this is. All right, so you ready for project number 3? So we're going to do the bunny. The little bunny head that we did, we're going to do that. And then this little piece of wood that I have. Now I'm just going to sand the edges of this wood piece just to kind of round it off a little bit. It seemed just a little bit too square. And then do you see that little red block there? That was one left out of the ones that we used from before. So I'm going to use that on the back just to kind of make sure that the head holds up nicely when we put this down on the piece of wood. So once I get everything sanded, I'm going to grab some white paint again, and we are going to just put a coat of paint over everything. Now that napkin that I was talking about, this bunny head's kind of cool because there's like a top where I'm painting right now, and then it goes down and it looks like another layer, and then there's a kind of like a flatter layer on the bottom. So I just want, once we get this all painted and it's time to decoupage, I'm just going to put that on the very top layer. That way the sides will still be white, and we'll do a little bit of distressing with our ink pad on that. So while that bunny is drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint the bottom, and then we'll paint that little block as well. And I'm also going to use the ink pad. Hey, let me know in the comments, do any of you use ink pads when you're distressing? It's so easy and so fun to do. So I always like to do that up. But here is, I had way too much Mod Podge on there. So I'm going to put that on, just like I said, on that very top layer. We're going to lay that napkin down once we remove the ply off of it. And then once we get that on and it starts to dry a little bit, I'm just going to use my nail file, and we will just sand around the edges so that it'll be nice and clean, and you won't even know. It'll look like maybe we painted that on. In my mind, maybe I think that. Oh gosh. All right. So once that's done, and then we do, I'm going to grab out, like I said, the ink pad. I love this brown color that I have. Oh my gosh. Why am I totally blanking on the color of it? But when it dries, it's kind of like a brownish gray, and I just love it so much. So I'm just going to kind of hit the base here. And then once we get this sanded off, I'm going to do the same thing for the top. And then we will hot glue the little wood piece to the back of the bunny and then put that onto the base. And then when I did that, I was like, oh, you didn't paint the back of that bunny. So I had to go back and paint the back. And I had forgotten to take the sticker off, but that's okay. We'll just throw some paint over it. Nobody's going to know. Nobody will know but us. Well, the sticker's still on, but we just painted over the top of it. So here's how it turned out, friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more.